Welcome to London's Chinatown.
I thought this was Chinatown.
This is the new Chinatown. It's only 50 years old at best.
The original is way more interesting. Why haven't you heard of it?
Britain and China began as amicable trade partners in the 18th century. Britain's first Chinese immigrants were sailors.
Hadler paid their European counterparts, often serving as chefs or laundries due to British beliefs about racial hierarchy.
Where exactly did these sailors settle?
Limehouse, the old East India docklands. Here we are. There's not much left.
There's nothing left, but there are two remaining clues.
So there will be tiny amounts of Chinese sailors. We're talking in the hundreds or so, in between jobs that are settled here in Limehouse.
And by the 1800s, we see a community forming. Chinese sailors are settling down and marrying local British women. There would have been at least a street's worth of shops for the Chinese population, hence Ming Street.
But this was the British Age of Empire, and that meant racial segregation and dubious ideas of racial hierarchy. Now, during this time, Britain is selling a lot of opium to China. The Chinese essentially ban it. This starts the Opium Wars, and the British basically enforce the opium trade into China.
However, it was the Chinese who were blamed as the enablers and aggressors of the opium crisis. And by the beginning of the 1900s, we see an emergence of the Yellow Peril.
Fear of the unknown of immigration absolutely captivates Britain.
Hold on, that sounds rather familiar. And then we see many, actually quite famous British writers sensationalising the Chinese presence in Limehouse.
Charles Dickens' Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Oscar Wilde also features a Chinese opium den in The Picture of Dorian Gray.
We've not even got to Fu Manchu, a literal Chinese supervillain.
Created by author Sax Rohmer, Fu Manchu was a seducer of white women and criminal mastermind, and his opium den was allegedly based underneath this pyramid. And then there's the press, because sensationalism in fiction is one thing, but what the press were reporting about the Chinese community of Limehouse was at a whole new level.
Newspapers reported stories of white women being seduced by Chinese men, vast waves of immigration taking the jobs of the local Englishmen, and of course, huge underground drug empires based off those fictitious accounts, which ultimately didn't exist.
But we still see repeated uses of the Yellow Peril to win votes in politics. Well, in some ways, Chinatown of Limehouse never really existed. It was just a couple of streets made up of law-abiding Chinese citizens dreamt up into a sensationalist boogeyman.
The decline of the docks, the slum clearance, the damage from World War II meant that nothing is really left in Limehouse, apart from the street signs and that church. But the migration from Hong Kong in the 60s means that they end up here in the West End of London.
Thanks for watching.
Like and follow.